It's March, and you haven't been in 5 weeks. The card still gets charged. Same day every month, same amount, quiet as breathing. And here's the part you've never thought about. Nobody called. Nobody emailed to ask where you went. A business that sold you something you've stopped using has said absolutely nothing about it. That silence isn't neglect. It's the product working. Because the gym you joined in January is not in the fitness business. It's in a different business entirely, and once you see which one, every strange thing about that building starts making sense. Start with the room itself, because the room gives it away. Walk into any big box gym at capacity and count. The floor holds maybe 200 people before it stops being usable, 300 at the absolute limit, and at that point you're waiting 15 minutes for a bench. Now ask how many members that gym has sold. Not 200, thousands. A single low-cost location routinely carries several thousand members against a floor that fits a few hundred. Planet Fitness built an entire empire on exactly this shape. Enormous membership counts against ordinary-sized rooms. Do the arithmetic, and it stops looking like a gym. If even 1 in 4 members showed up on the same evening, the building would fail. Not lose money. Physically fail. No treadmills, no benches, no parking. So the model doesn't just tolerate your absence, it requires it. Sit with that, because everything else grows out of it. Now, a business that needs most of its customers to stay home has an obvious problem. How do you get thousands of people to pay for a room they can't all use? You sell them something that isn't the room. You sell them the version of themselves who goes. That person is worth far more than a customer, because a customer compares prices and cancels when the value stops. Someone buying a better self doesn't cancel. Canceling means admitting the better self isn't coming. And economists have measured exactly what that costs. In 2006, 2 economists, Stefano DellaVigna and Ulrike Malmendier, published a study in the American Economic Review with one of the bluntest titles in the field, Paying Not to Go to the Gym. They got the actual attendance records of nearly 8,000 health club members and compared what people chose against what they did. Members on the monthly contract paid over $70 a month. Then they showed up, on average, about 4 times. That's more than $17 a visit. The same gym sold a 10-visit pass at $10 a visit. The people paying the most per workout had chosen the plan that looked cheapest. They didn't overpay a little. They overpaid by roughly 70%, month after month, for something sitting right next to them on the price list. And it gets worse. When people finally stopped going, they kept paying anyway. On average, about 2 more months of silent billing before anyone canceled. Read that again. The gap between quitting and admitting you quit has a price, and the industry has known its exact size since 2006. Here's what makes the study land. Those members weren't stupid. They were asked, and they sincerely expected to attend around 9 times a month. They came 4. Nobody lied. They forecast the person they intended to be and paid for him in advance. That gap between the self who signs and the self who shows is the raw material. Everything built into a gym contract is engineered around it, which explains the calendar. The fitness industry does not have 12 months. It has about 6 weeks, and they all fall in January. Researchers have a name for why. In 2014, Heng Chen Dai, Catherine Milkman, and Jason Rios described the fresh start effect, the finding that people are far more likely to pursue a goal right after a temporal landmark, a birthday, a Monday, the first of the year. Gym searches don't drift upward in January. They spike, and the industry doesn't treat that spike as a busy season. It treats it as the harvest, the promotions, the waived joining fees, the New Year, New You banner going up in the last week of December. All of it is aimed at one narrow window, when your imagination of yourself is at its yearly peak. Sign in that window, and you're not negotiating. You're shopping for a feeling. Now watch what they hand you at the peak of that feeling. Not a month, a year, 12 months, billed monthly, usually with a minimum term. And here's the asymmetry that should have been the first thing you noticed. Joining takes about 4 minutes. Phone, card, done. Some places don't even need a signature. Leaving is a different building entirely. Notice periods. A cancellation window that only opens near your renewal date. In-person forms. Certified letters. In 2023, the American regulator, the FTC, went after Planet Fitness franchises and others in the sector precisely over how hard it had become to get out. Those are not leftovers from an older era. Each one is a decision somebody made. 4 minutes in. 6 weeks and a post office in 90% of the way out. When a company makes the entrance frictionless and the exit expensive, it is telling you exactly which direction it wants you moving, and it isn't toward the door. And it starts before the contract, in the part everybody remembers as friendly, the tour. Someone walks you around the floor, learns your name, asks what you're hoping to change. It feels like hospitality. It's a sales script, and it has a shape. You get shown the expensive plan first. Personal training, premium hours, the full package, a number high enough to make you flinch. Then the standard membership lands beside it and feels like relief. Nothing about the standard plan changed. It just stopped being the first number you heard. Retailers call that anchoring. The first figure you see quietly becomes the ruler you measure the rest against. Then comes the deadline. The joining fee is waived, this week. The offer ends Sunday. There's a whiteboard with a countdown on it. None of that pressure is about the gym. It exists to stop you doing the one thing that kills the sale, going home and thinking about how often you'll really come. Because the sale doesn't survive arithmetic. It only survives enthusiasm. So let's put the numbers together, because the machine only makes sense assembled. Take a modest gym, 2,000 members at $40, $80,000 a month coming in. Rent, staff, power, equipment leasing, insurance eat most of it. These places live on thin margins. Now the part that decides everything. Attendance. At 10% turnout, the gym runs beautifully. Comfortable floor, equipment that lasts, light staffing. Push that to half and the same gym eats itself. Queues, broken machines, and the regulars canceling because it's unusable. So the ideal customer is not the one training 5 days a week. That person costs money. Wear, towels, staff, space. The ideal customer pays and never appears, and now the whole thing turns over. You've been thinking of yourself as a customer who failed. You signed up, you didn't follow through, the guilt is yours. But run the model honestly, and you weren't the failure. You were the plan. Your absence isn't a bug the gym tolerates. It's the revenue that keeps the lights on for everybody else. The members who never show are subsidizing the ones who do, and the pricing, the January push, the 12-month term, and the certified letter are all instruments for finding people who will pay for a room they won't enter. The gym never sold you fitness. It sold you a subscription to your own good intentions, and those renew automatically. And if you want proof, look at what the gym doesn't do. Every other subscription on earth chases you when you stop using it. Stop watching a streaming service, and the emails start. We've added new shows. Here's a month at half price. Come back. There's a whole discipline for it, called win-back marketing, and it exists because most businesses lose money when a customer goes quiet. Now count the messages you got from the gym after you stopped going. None. Not a check-in, not a discount, not a "we miss you." They have your email. They know your entry card hasn't been scanned since February. Reaching out would cost them almost nothing. They don't, because a quiet member is the best member they have. Reminding you that you're paying for nothing is the single fastest way to lose the payment. The industry didn't forget to build that email. It decided not to. And before you file this under gyms, check your own bank statement. The language app you opened 11 times. The meditation app with the streak you abandoned in week 2. The meal kit, the online course, the magazine, the second streaming service. Same architecture every time. A small monthly number, a promise about the person you're becoming, an entrance built for impulse, and an exit built for friction. The gym is just the version with mirrors, so the gap between who you meant to be and who showed up is impossible to miss. Which is why the useful move isn't outrage, it's arithmetic. Before you sign anything, divide. Take the yearly cost and split it by the number of visits you'll actually make. Not the number you're picturing. Have your estimate. The research says you'll overshoot by more than double. If that number is worse than paying per visit, you're not buying access. You're buying the feeling of having decided. Then find the cancellation terms before you join, not in March. If it takes longer to read them than it took to sign up, you already know what the contract is for. And give yourself the 6-week test. Train somewhere with no contract at all. A day pass, a community center, the pool, a park, for 6 weeks, and see whether the habit survives without a payment holding it up. If it does, sign anything you like. You've earned the discount. If it doesn't, you just saved a year of quiet billing and learned something no gym will ever tell you. The direct debit was never the thing making you go. So it's March, and nobody has called. Now you know why. Nothing went wrong. No system failed, no message got lost, no one forgot you. The silence is the design. You are performing exactly the behavior the business was built around, paying, quietly, for a room you have no plans to enter. The gym was never selling you a place to train. It was selling you the person you promised to become in January. And that person, unlike you, never cancels.